Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh to all students. This is for the student of my class on the academic project writing. So I believe that students need more elaboration and explanation and how to complete your writing. After our discussion on your title, I believe that everybody already have a very good title for your to complete the project for the year. And I already briefly discussed what you're supposed to do to complete the project, but in particular, in details, I said that I want to explain everything in this video. So I hope that you already in 2 months time or in 1 month's time, the last meeting that we hold, the last meeting that we held is about 1 month ago, that I asked you to find a lot of things in the literature review, and I already advise you to start your literature review. But the real understanding on how to complete in each chapter, I still owe you the explanation. So in this video, I would like to explain fully what is the step that you have to undertake to complete this project. So the rules of this writing, you must comply to the APA styles of references. So I believe in your assignment before this in the class, you already complete the small assignment with the APA style, but still many of my students, even though they understand I already explained in the class using APA styles, they did not comply to a real APA styles according to the latest version or according to the real APA. Sometimes they put in the beginning of the references APA, but towards the end, they not really checking their work properly. So in the academic writing, the APA style must be really strictly has to be complied. So you have to refer the link that I give here, www.bitme.org.citation-guide-APA. So I found out that this web or this link is very useful for the student as a beginner or the student that already know a little bit to refer to this website for you to understand further how you want to cite in a book, how you want to cite whenever you use a magazine, newspaper, website, journal article, a film, interview, a lecture, so a TV show or a radio broadcast, So it means that whenever you're writing, whatever the slightest references, the slightest things that you taking from other people, doesn't matter there is a small interview, doesn't matter there is a small statement from other people, it means that you still have to put the references because it is not from you yourself as an author. It is not you who create the statement. It is not you who create the sentences. So ethically, whenever you taking some references from other people, doesn't matter it is already published or not published, so it must be put together with the reference. It is not originally your work from your writing. Okay, so I hope all students have to understand that. So please take this link and then study in a very detailed and a very particular how you want to use the APA styles of references. Okay, title. All of you have the title already so far. So you have to discuss your title with your supervisor. Make sure your title is agreed by your supervisor. And all of you already discussed the title with me, and I already agree with a few options rather than what you discussed before this, and we already come out with the solution of the title. Okay, chapter 1, the introduction chapter. So whenever you do the chapter 1, what is the purpose of the chapter 1? It is the introduction about your project. So the introduction should give a brief information about what project you are doing. So the project should be refer back to the title. What are you doing is about your title. So this introduction should talk about the title and what is the content inside your title. So the intro should write something as the title shown, not something that is not relevant at all or something that is totally different. So it must refer back to the title. What really you really want to do in this project, and what really research or study that you want to undertake. Okay, next, research background. So again, refer to the title, your research background. You have to build your research background. Research background, let's say you make a case study, so the background of the case study. Let's say you are doing about something about the orphanage home, so do the background on that orphanage home. Let's say you do some title about the adolescents or the problematic teenagers, so you have to do those background. Study the background, find out the references, the strong references together to support your argumentation or your statement in the background. And next, the problem statement. So the problem statement is, I think, is a very much important in any academic project or any thesis writing. Without a problem, why do you study? Why do you study certain issue? So we study certain issue because we believe there is a problem. And we would like to provide some solution or suggestion to the problem, recommendation, even though we cannot solve the problem. So this is to be done in a way in academic research. Maybe this is not an action to be directly implemented for now, but it is a research with academic reason, with academic argumentation, with the academic supporting elements. So the problem statement must be clear. Why you do the topic? Why there is a problem in this issue? So before the exact problem you raise, of course, surrounding the problem, there must be an issue. So surrounding the problem, there must be an issue. So this issue, you have to identify with the supporting statement, with the supporting argumentation from the scholars, from any references that you already read before, saying that this issue is very critical to be studied. This issue is a very problematic issue in the society. So from the elaboration on the issue raised, on the issue occurred, the existence of the issue, then you relate to the real problem that you want to study. So with that problem, then you write or you put the intention of your project in relevant to the problem. Then maybe this is a very current problem that is really vital and very critical for the research to take place. So this is what we call problem statement. It should not be your own statement from your head. So this must be support with the literature review. This must be support with your readings, whereby other people already being studied about this, but maybe not in a very specific like what you are doing, but in the same area of the study. So it is quite impossible for you to study, you say no other people has been studied about that. It is impossible because in the world, maybe not in Malaysia, but maybe in Switzerland. Maybe not in Malaysia, but maybe in Mauritius, people already study some. So even though it is not with the same geographical background, but they already study some critical issues that you also want to study. So it means that people already study about it. So that's why problem statement must come from a very concrete reason. From your already digging the literature review, you already find what people study about it and what really you want to raise the problem in currently in your country or in your place or in a small specific focus. Next, after problem statement, okay, you come to the research objective. So from the issues, from the problem that you already raised about that you want to study on that you want to conduct the research on it, then you come with the research objective. So research objective must be in parallel with what the problem that you want to study. Okay? So what is the research objective that you want to achieve or you want to solve? So it must be relevant back to the title of the study with the problem that you already stated before. Okay, so this is the what you call it, a very um, a very very much relevant from the beginning that I already explained to you until from the title, from the research introduction part, research background, problem statement, it is much relevant to each other. It cannot be differently, or you talking about the research background something else and the introduction in something else and the problem statement in something else. It is not possible whenever you conducted the research. So what about the research question? Because research objective, normally you will state what is research objective number 1 you want to achieve. What is research objective number 2? What is research objective number 3? So normally at the undergraduate student, research objective should be not more than 3. Maximum only 3 only for the undergraduate student. But for the master's degree, PhD student, sometimes they have 5 or 6 research objectives because their research is more deeper, is more rigorous, it's more in-depth study, and it takes more years to complete. You only have 6 months to complete, less than 1 year to complete, so your research objective is small, only not so huge and big. You cannot achieve in 3 years time, but you have to achieve in 6 months time. So something that is possible for you to complete. And the research question. So if you have 3 objectives, from those 3 objectives, you have to develop the research question. What really you want to ask in this research? What really the question that you want to answer when you do this research? So the research question 1 should be tally with the research objective 1. Research question 2, we call it RQ2, should be tally with the RO2. And RQ3 should be tally with the RO3. That is the very simple analogy, a very, sequence, logic and sequence. So you see, in the introduction part, chapter 1, everything should be in sequence. So you cannot explain differently and build the research question differently. Okay, 1.6, significance of the study. So why you conduct the study? What is the significance? Significant, kepentingan. Why you conduct the study? So you have to state why. Because whenever you're thinking of your title, you must have something trigger in your head why you need to conduct the study. And I already explained to you during our meeting, and I already advised to you about this. Okay, 1.7 scope of the study. So whenever you already have the title, you already put your problem statement. Sometimes the problem statement and the title is quite wide, but in your limit, time within your time limitation, you only can study in a very small scope only. So that's why you have to underline what is the scope of the study, so that your research is clearly stated that you only cover with a specific scope of the study, not a more wider scope. So this already put properly in your point 1.7. 1.8, limitation of the study. Of course, in your study, there's a lot of limitation. Limitation of the time, limitation of the facilities, limitation of the environment or society limitation. Like now we having the movement control order of the COVID-19. You cannot go interview directly with the people to your respondent, so that you only got the Google form for your interview or for your questionnaire. So people answer the question through Google form is much different whenever they answer question with the direct enumerator, because they can ask the question, they can voice out why the question is like this, they can give their opinion and whatnot. So this is what we call limitation of the study. 1.9, operational definition. You have to define a few important items from where we get this item. Item means that the words that you use the whole of your thesis. So normally operational definition come from the topic itself. The topic have a few words that in fact explain what you're going to do. So in this study, you have to define those words operationally according to what is your scope, what is your limitation. But this one also, you have to find a proper references. It is not you define by yourself, but support it with the references from the scholars that you read, from the literature that you read. Okay, it is not you yourself to define this. Okay, literature review, chapter 2. Title of your literature. In the first, you have in the literature review, you have a few title that you want to elaborate. You already have the title from your topic. You already have the title from the problem statement you already discussed. From the introduction part, you already study. But how you want to develop the subtitle? So title in the literature, refer back to the title of the study. However, the subtitle of the literature, you can build that whenever you already make the extensive reading through your literature review. Because if you don't have a good literature digging, you will be very blur. How you want to relate with the other subtopic? What is subtopic that is relevant to your study? So there is no shortcut way for you to do this unless you already do a very good literature review. Then you can have an idea what is the subtitle, or subtitle can be divide again to the smaller subtitle. It is all, and why this is very important to be elaborate together. This is all depends to your literature work and your understanding on what you are doing. Okay, so we move on the So how you want to be title and subtitle according to your reading and relevant to your title. And all must be right with a proper APA styles, and everything should be right in a proper APA style. That one is a must in everything. So you don't put the reference, you don't say that you want to find the reference later on after you already writing. No. Whenever you reading, whenever you writing, all the references you have to put together, you have to keep in another file the references properly from the beginning. Because if you want to find the references at the end of the study, and let's say with 100 names in the bibliography that you have to put proper, structure proper, follow APA, you will mix up everything. So to avoid that to happen, that's why from the beginning what I say must be do the literature, the reading, follow the APA style from the beginning. Means that the list of the references, the list of the bibliography, the in-text references must be complete in whatever you're writing from the introduction. So you not suffer at the end of the day. Okay, research methodology chapter 3. So after you finish chapter 1, you complete chapter 2. Now come in chapter 3. Research method. What you want to write in research method? Then as usual, whenever you start writing, you start with the introduction. So introduction, what you're going to do in this research, what is the topic of your research, and then 3.2, the data collection method, how you want to collect the data in this research, in your relevant to your topic. You want to collect data using your quantitative or qualitative data analysis. So this is all need your knowledge concerning research methodology. And I believe student, before you taking the academic project, you already have 2 classes on the research method, if I'm not mistaken. One is the statistical and analysis and data analysis. Another one is research methodology. Another one is I think for Dakwah student, research methodology for Dakwah. So this is the time for you to use all your knowledge that you already gained in the classroom to be practiced in your research method in your academic project. So instead of you taking the literature, you have also to dig in the literature on the research methodology when you explain in the introduction. But you must have explained it in a proper manner from the sources or from the references, from the books, from the research method books. As usual, you must have the scholar's opinion, what scholar says about the data collection method. If you choose quantitative or you choose qualitative, you must put together the supporting opinion from the scholars. So other than that, you also have to know which you choose, and you have to discuss this with your supervisor. Take the supervisor advice, okay, according to your topic, what you want to do. Okay, what should I do? Whether I should choose the qualitative or quantitative method for this study. So all that you can discuss further with your lecturer. And next, research design. So research design is a very important for the student to understand whether you do the exploratory study or whether you do on the what you call it classroom based study, or we call it cannot remember now, but never mind. This is the research design. You also have to read from the research methodology book what research design that you want to use for your study and what is suitable with your study. And this one also you supposed to discuss further and seek the advice from your supervisor. Okay, and also after that, sampling design. Sampling is the design of your respondent, whether it is a random sampling, whether it is stratified sampling. So this is all you have to discuss further with your supervisor, but you also have to understand on the sampling method from your research methodology class before, and also this one you have to support with the scholar's opinion as well. Instrument. Instrument is for those who would like to do the quantitative method, for those who want to distribute the questionnaire. So you're supposed to have the instrumentation. The questionnaire is the instrument that you want to distribute to the respondent. So you're supposed to know, the previous instrument that you want to refer to for your study. Or you want to adapt the instrument, the adaptation, take some of the relevant questionnaire in the instrument for your study, or you want to develop new question for the instrumentation. So this one also, you have to really discuss further in detail with your supervisor and how to do it. Data collection. Yeah, you collect the data. After you finish your instrumentation, then you do the data collection. How you do data collection? Like I said before, you do it in a closed environment or open environment by interviewing or by using the questionnaire. So it depends to your choice and suitability of the study. Research sampling, yeah, your sample could be vast people from a few generation gap, or your sample maybe in a very specific group of people that is the youngsters or teenagers, for example. And after you complete your data collection according to the sampling method, the sampling group, then you take your data and you analyze the data. So this data you can analyze depends to your method that you already stated before, whether this study is quantitative or qualitative. Okay, what kind of tools that you want to analyze for the study, it depends to what you already discussed with your supervisor and what you already wrote in it before. So some people use many software nowadays for the data analysis, but for this undergraduate student, the simple quantitative analysis always students use SPSS, and also the qualitative study using thematic analysis. But we also have a software for the qualitative research such as NVivo and also Atlas TI. Some students know how to use it. If you want to know how to use it, you have to learn the usage of the software as well. But otherwise, you do a simple thematic analysis only. Okay, whenever you already have your instrument, it is very important for students to conduct the pilot study. So, or whenever you have complete your questionnaire, you distribute to 30 of your sample, or 30, maybe if you cannot go to your sampling group, you just give to your friends just to check whether they understand the language of your questionnaire, whether it is interview question also is very important, and then we can get the data, 30 data, and then we can run through SPSS first for 30 people and see what is their result, so that you can check out whether the question is relevant or not relevant through the result, or it is acceptable or not acceptable. So from the pilot test, you can still make some adjustment before you distribute a real to the real sampling group. Chapter 4, data analysis. So as usual, you start the chapter 4 with the introduction first. And after that, the data analysis. So as I said earlier, quantitative analysis can use SPSS or AMOS at the higher level. But for you, only SPSS is enough. But for the higher degree, they use more after that. That is AMOS. Now people are using AMOS. It's very famous. So what is the data analysis process here? Data collection and preparation first. You collect data, you prepare the code book, you set up structure of data, you enter data, screen data for errors. So the pilot test also one of the reason we conduct, because we want to check any error of the output, the data output. Then the exploration of the data, descriptive statistic or any graph, how you want to explore data. You want to come out with the descriptive analysis, statistical analysis, graph, chart. So that is the creativity and how you want to elaborate it. And whenever come to the analysis part, it is explore relationship between variables. So before that, you have to identify, of course, your variables of the study. So whenever you analyze the data, you have to explore what is the relationship between the variables, not only talking about variables separately only. And you have to compare the groups as well. So this is very important for the student to know what they are discussing, how they want to compare, they want to explore the relationship between variables. Okay? And next, okay, just now I explained to you on the data analysis, on the quantitative analysis just now. Okay, this is quantitative analysis, that how students run the data through SPSS or at higher level AMOS. And this is the data analysis process: data collection and preparation, exploration of the data, analysis of the data. So next, I want to explain on the data analysis if you do the qualitative analysis. So qualitative analysis, as I said just now, by using thematic analysis, it depends according to the theme of your analysis. Okay, how many themes you want to come out whenever you want to analyze the data. So the software that run the analysis for the qualitative analysis, now we have the NVivo or Atlas TI. But if students are not capable to have the software or don't know how to use the software, then you can just analyze using thematic analysis, okay, according to the theme of theme of the significant values that you want to bring out for your study. So in the qualitative data analysis tab, the first one, you have to become familiar with your data, and you coding into themes, and you search for the patterns and connection. So in each theme, is there any pattern or connection between another theme? And then interpretation of the data. So this is how the qualitative data analysis start. Chapter 5, findings and discussion. So in chapter 5, you do the introduction, and after that you discuss your data analysis thoroughly. Okay, you already discussed your data analysis in chapter 4. That is what is the analysis of the data. But in chapter 5, your data analysis, you have to discuss it with the supporting argumentation, with the supporting from the scholar's opinion. because you want to justify why it happened like this and what is the previous research that has been conducted, okay, how it relevant with your data and with your results. Yeah. So chapter 5, 5.2 is not the data analysis actually, sorry for that, but it is more on the results of the results, and then how you relate with the and justify the result of your data analysis in chapter 4 just now. So 5.3, discussion with supporting literatures from the other scholars and past research conducted. You have to discuss the result from your data analysis in chapter 4 and how you want to justify and the come out with the real finding of your study. Chapter 6, conclusion and recommendation. So from the chapter 5, more on the findings just now. So chapter 6 is conclusion. You have to conclude overall of the study, and you have to relate back with your problem statement, with your research objective achieved, with your uh, recommendation that you want to come out with the topic that you already explore or you already study. References, okay, must follow properly in text citation and list of references according to APA styles of referencing, like I already remind you earlier. So last, attachment of your result of the data analysis or your questionnaire or related photos or any other materials that you think necessary for your project. So you attach together in the appendix. If you want to attach the result of the data analyzed, your questionnaire must be there. Any photos or any graph or any materials that you think necessary for your project, you have to put in the appendix, or we call it attachment. So appendix you have to label appendix A, appendix B or C and so on. So okay, I think basically that is my brief explanation on the how you want to complete the whole of your project. So I hope you listen many times to this video, and after this video, after your understanding, I will help another meeting. I will help another online meeting so that you can discuss with me any query or any question that you do not understand, or you feel that you are still vague, you want to ask me how. So inshallah I will meet you all in the online meeting soon. With that, I end the session with Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.